Hello students, a very good evening to all and welcome back to Daily Current Affairs of 27th of July. So these are the four important topics for today. So in first article we shall be discussing the wildfires in different countries in Europe. Next article is about an important mission of NASA, that is the Praxis mission. In next article we shall be discussing why recurrent floods are being seen in the state of Assam, and finally the article about the latest UNESCO World Heritage Site in India. So in this article, we shall be discussing in detail that why wildfire crisis is being seen in the countries of France and Spain. So here, because of the recent wildfire crisis in France and Spain, mass evacuations have been done as well as mass displacements have been done. So it is very important for us to understand the reasons for the wildfire crisis in different countries. The reasons can be because of the natural factors also, and they can be because of the human factors also. So if we talk about the natural factors, so first important reason is the prolonged drought dries vegetation. So because of the prolonged drought conditions, the vegetation is becoming more and more dry, and the drier the vegetation is, the more easily it can catch fire. So you can understand in this way. For example, you have a sponge, right? You have a sponge. This sponge is wet and this sponge is dry. And if you set these two sponges on fire, so the sponge which is wet, it is less likely to catch fire easily. But the sponge which is completely dry, it can easily catch the fire. So same thing happens with the forest also. So what is happening? Because of the increasing climatic change conditions, the places which were receiving rainfall, there the conditions of floods is being seen. And the places which were earlier very dry, which were experiencing drought, so drought conditions are being intensified in those places. So this you can understand through this simple diagram. See, in geography, we discuss about different pressure belts on the earth, right? So for example, this is equatorial low pressure belt. This is subtropical high pressure belt. So in equatorial low pressure belt, you experience the condition of high rainfall. So because of the climate change, now these regions will be experiencing the conditions of floods. So earlier where rainfall is happening, now rainfall is being intensified. Here the regions which were at the subtropical high pressure zone, here what was the condition? The air was descending, right? Here air cannot rise. So here earlier also the conditions were drier, but now because of the climate change, the conditions are becoming more and more dry. Now conditions are already dry. Now because of the increasing climate change, the heat waves are also increasing. Why heat waves are increasing? Because of the increasing climate change, temperature is increasing a lot, and because of increasing temperature, heat waves are increasing a lot. So now you imagine this condition that vegetation is already dry. On the top of it, now heat waves are flowing, and on the top of it, the speed of the wind is also very, very high. So because of all these conditions create the favorable environment for the wildfires to occur. And that too, lightning can trigger the forest fire. So if all these conditions are there and if lightning can occur, it will create the favorable condition for the wildfires. Now, if we talk about the human factors, so see, when we are talking about the climate change, so here human beings have an important role to play, right? So here, all these conditions of climate change are created by the humans. Apart from that, various human negligence can also result in the wildfires. For example, the spark from the cigarettes or spark from the campfires, etc., etc. And when you are expanding the settlements in the forest, that means when you are doing encroachment in the forest areas, that means you are disturbing the balance of the forest. And if you are encroaching in the forest areas, that means in any way you are contributing to the forest fires. And finally, we already discussed about the climate change. So it is increasing the frequency as well as intensity of heat waves. Now, if we discuss about the climate change and wildfires in detail, so first this thing we already discussed, that it is leading to the increase in the frequency of heat waves. Second thing is that, see, for example, this is a land, and if climate change is increasing a lot, that means if temperature is increasing a lot, so the moisture which was present earlier, which was present in the soil, now this complete moisture will be evaporated. And now if this complete moisture is evaporated, the dryness conditions would increase a lot, or dryness conditions would be intensified. And because of all these conditions, the wildfire seasons can extend. So these are the impacts of climate change on the forest fires. Now, if we discuss about the consequences, so see, first consequence would be loss of biodiversity, because as you already know that, for example, this is an old forest. So an old forest would be having many old trees. Old trees means the trees which are 200, 300, 400 years old. So the ecosystem which is created around the old trees, that ecosystem you cannot replicate at some other place within 1 year or 2 years. So that's why we are saying that there will be a loss of biodiversity, because all these old trees, all these old forests provide a lot of ecosystem services. Next is the carbon emissions from the burning forest. So as you already know that forest act as a carbon sequestrar, right? So whenever the forests are dried or whenever the forest burnt up, so because of that, complete carbon dioxide would be coming out from the trees, which was earlier trapped in the trees. Next is the air pollution and the health impact. So this is very obvious. After the burning, a lot of gases will come out and it can create impact on the health. Next is the damage to agriculture and the infrastructure. How damage to agriculture? Because of the wildfires, the quality of soil will reduce. Because of the wildfires, the deforestation can occur, because earlier trees used to hold the water as well as soil. So it will damage the agriculture. And finally, it can lead to displacement of people who are living near the forest areas. So these are the consequences. So now if we talk about the way forward, you see, first important way forward would be to improve the early warning system, because just now we discussed that wildfires can lead to mass displacements or mass evacuations. So here our first priority will be to save the human lives. So because of that, we'll be needing the improved early warning system as well as fire monitoring system. Next thing will be the promote sustainable forest management. Sustainable forest management means you must use the forest resources in a way so that future generations can also use it. It's not like indiscriminately you are cutting forest for your own use. Next important thing is creating the fire breaks. Fire breaks means, for example, this is a forest area. That means in this area you have a lot of trees. Now you are creating a buffer zone here which does not have any vegetation, and here fire cannot cross this area. So this is known as the fire break. So in this way, the spread of wildfires can be reduced. And very important thing is the involving community in managing these forest wildfires. And finally, reducing the greenhouse gases, because if emission of greenhouse gases is controlled, then the temperature increase would be controlled. And if can be controlled, then the wind speed as well as heat waves can be controlled. And finally, wildfires can be controlled. So this was the overall analysis. Next important article is about the Praxis mission of NASA. So main objective of Praxis mission of NASA is to explore the material which is present in the rings of the terrestrial planets. So please remember what is the main purpose of its mission. The main purpose of this mission is the direct sampling of the planetary ring particles. So as you know that in total we have 8 planets, right? In total, we have 8 planets, and out of those 8 planets, 4 planets are the inner planets. So Earth will be included in inner planet, and 4 planets are the terrestrial planets. Terrestrial planets, they are also known as the gaseous planets. So the 4 outer planets. So see, these inner planets and outer planets, these planets are separated by a belt. We also call it as the asteroid belt. So the planets which are outside the asteroid belt, all these planets have a kind of ring structure. So all these planets have kind of ring structure, but the visible ring structure can only be seen in the Saturn. But important thing which you must remember is all the 4 terrestrial planets have the ring system. The main purpose of this Praxis mission is to take the direct sample from those rings, and then we can analyze that how the evolution of universe took place, how the evolution of planets took place. So this is the main purpose. So if we see the full form of Praxis, so it is the Planetary Rings Autonomous Exploration with In Situ Sampling. So here please remember, this analysis would be done by an autonomous vehicle. So this you have to remember. An autonomous robot kind of vehicle would be going there and it would be analyzing. So what is Praxis? Praxis is a futuristic robotic mission. So please remember, this is a robotic mission. It is an autonomous mission. Its main purpose is to take the sample of the rings, mainly which are present in the Saturn rings, and to analyze that how the over a period of time universe have been evolved. So I think the detailing of this mission is not involved. Quickly we will discuss. So it is an AI powered autonomous spacecraft. Just now we discussed that it is a robotic mission. Next, it uses a long deployable boom for touch and go sampling. That means it will just take the sample and it will go. It does not aim to it does not aim to ensure the direct collision with fast moving ring particles. That means here our main aim is just to take the particle and move away and just to analyze the particle. Now, why this mission is important, I think we already discussed it, the importance. So importance will be that it will help to understand how planetary rings were formed and how they were evolved. So this is the main purpose. Now, if we discuss what is the composition of these rings, so please remember, especially the Saturn rings are made mostly of water and ice, and also they are mixed with dust and rocky material. So mainly what is the composition of these rings along the planets? So it will be water, it will be ice, as well as it will be dust and rocky materials. And the four terrestrial planets which I was talking about were Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And these four planets are separated from four inner planets by the asteroid belt. Now, next important article is about the Assam. So here the article is discussing why every year Assam is experiencing unprecedented floods. That means the floods at very, very high levels. So let's discuss this. So see, if we discuss the reasons that why every year Assam is experiencing the floods, so first of all, we have to discuss the natural causes. So if we talk about the natural causes, so what will be the reason? So Assam experiences extreme floods because extreme heavy rainfall monsoon occurs in Assam and upstream Himalayan catchment areas. So this is very normal that every year monsoon occurs, and because of that monsoon, heavy rainfall occurs in Assam. So this is very normal thing. But here, see, here the main reason is, see, if we look towards the map of northeastern India, okay, so this is the map of northeastern India, and somewhere here we have the state of Assam, right? And from somewhere here the Brahmaputra is coming, and Brahmaputra is the reason why floods are occurring in Assam. Now see, because of monsoon, the water in Brahmaputra would be very high, so that is okay, right? But here the main reason is that when Brahmaputra is coming from these upstream, from these rugged regions, so Brahmaputra is carrying a lot of sediments with it, right? And when Brahmaputra is carrying a lot of sediments with it, so because of lot of sediments, the water carrying capacity of Brahmaputra and the nearby regions reduces. And because of that, water overflows from the Brahmaputra basin. So you can understand in this way that, for example, there are two tanks. This is first tank and this is second tank. So for example, these are tank of 1 liter, right? Now, if I fill this tank with 250 ml of with 250 gram of sediments, and the rest of them and the rest of the space is filled with water, so its water holding capacity will reduce, right? And if I keep complete this tank, if nothing is there in this tank, this complete tank can be filled with 1 liter of water. So here the water carrying capacity is high, but here water carrying capacity is low. So similar thing happens with the rivers around the region of Assam. So because of monsoon, the rainfall will happen. But since because of the sediments which are carried by the river, the water carrying capacity of the river reduces and the water overflows from the region. So this is the important thing. So here Brahmaputra and Barak rivers receive enormous volumes of water from the tributaries, and along with water, they receive a lot of sediments from the tributaries. So because of this, what happens? High sediment or deposition raises the riverbed, and which reduces the water carrying capacity. So this you have to remember. Now, if we talk about the human induced causes, so actually these are the important ones, human induced causes. First is the encroachment on the floodplains. Encroachment on the floodplains means, see, for example, this is a complete floodplain of Brahmaputra, and from somewhere, and here somewhere the Brahmaputra is flowing. Now the rule says that no settlement must be built near the floodplains of Brahmaputra. Floodplains means if in and at any time the flood occurs in this village, this complete area would be filled by water. What the rule says, that no settlement or no important infrastructure must be present in the floodplains. So now this is the problem with humans, right? This is your problem, that why have you created the settlements in the floodplains? Because this is the well established fact that if you are making settlement in the floodplains, eventually everything will be destroyed. Next is the deforestation and land use change in the catchment areas. So the regions which receive very good rainfall, the regions which receive very good rainfall, or the regions which receive water from Brahmaputra or the nearby rivers, if you are doing deforestation in those areas, then the soil, then the capacity of soil to hold the water will reduce. And because of that, what will happen? Eventually the floods will occur. Next is the poor drainage and the unplanned urbanization. Unplanned urbanization means everywhere you are making multi-story buildings, everywhere you are making the concrete roads. So the area of the land which can absorb the which can absorb the rainwater, that area of the land is reducing. Because of that also floods are occurring. Next thing, climate change. Climate change is the reason for everything, and because of the climate change, intense rainfall events are occurring. Yes. So I think this we already discussed, that why more and more floods are happening in Brahmaputra. What is the unique thing? So unique thing is Brahmaputra has the highest sediment carrying capacity in the world. So because of that, since sediments are lot, so because of that, what the water holding capacity will reduce. Yes. So if we talk about the way forward, that means how can we reduce the recurring floods which are happening in Assam? So first will be the flood forecasting as well as early warning system. Because just like we discussed in case of wildfires, our priority would be to reduce the human life losses. So for here, first of all, we must have a very good forecasting system as well as early warning system. Next is you must adopt the integrated river basin management. River basin management means, for example, this is a river basin and from somewhere river is flowing. For example, here we have a lot of trees, right? For example, here we have some ponds and lakes. So river basin management means what everything is present in a particular river basin, you have to take measures to protect all those things. For example, you must protect the forest there, you must protect the wetlands, the ponds there, right? You must protect all the infrastructure there. So whatever you are doing, all those things must be sustainable. Next thing is restoring wetlands, because if you restore wetlands, they can absorb a lot of water. So these are some of the solutions to reduce the conditions of flood. Now, next important article is related to recent UNESCO World Heritage Site. So recently, Sarnath site in Uttar Pradesh has been recognized as the 45th UNESCO World Heritage Site of India. And when this decision was took place, this decision was took. Yes, just a second. Yes. So this decision took place at the 48th session of the World Heritage Committee, and this 48th session took place in Busan in Republic of Korea. So please remember that recently Sarnath became 45th UNESCO World Heritage Site of India. So now if we discuss about the importance of Sarnath, so please remember Sarnath is considered as the birthplace of Buddhist Sangha. Please remember, Buddhist Sangha means, so Buddhist Sangha is a community. This Sangha is a community of monks and Buddhist nuns. So Sangha is a kind of community of Buddhist monks and nuns. If we talk about the location, so Sarnath is located near Varanasi, which is located in Uttar Pradesh, right? Now, the very important thing about Sarnath is that Lord Buddha delivered his first sermon here. So see, what happened? Gautam Buddha achieved enlightenment at Bodh Gaya. Bodh Gaya is in Bihar. So at Bodh Gaya, near Bodhi tree, Gautam Buddha attained the enlightenment. Now, after attaining the enlightenment, Gautam Buddha delivered his first sermon in Sarnath. So enlightenment was attained in Bodh Gaya, but the first sermon was delivered at the Sarnath, which is in Uttar Pradesh. Now, this event of delivering the first sermon is also known as Dharma Chakra Pravartana. Please remember this. Now, if we talk about Sarnath, so Sarnath is considered as one of the 4 holiest Buddhist pilgrimage sites. So basically, there are four Buddhist pilgrimage sites. For example, first is the Sarnath itself. Next, we have Bodh Gaya in Bihar. Next, we have Lumbini in Nepal, and next we have Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh. So Sarnath is considered as one of the 4 holiest Buddhist pilgrimage site. Now, very important thing about this is that which important king was related with this. So he was Emperor Ashoka, because in Sarnath, the stupas which were built by Emperor Ashoka, so these stupas, these monasteries are still flourishing in Sarnath. Now, if we talk about other significances, so this we already discussed that this is India's 45th UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, in Sarnath, we have the lion capital of Ashoka. Because just now we discussed that in Sarnath, different monasteries as well stupas were established by Ashoka. So here in Sarnath, we have the lion capital of Ashoka. So this is the picture of lion capital of Ashoka. Now, this lion capital of Ashoka is also used as the national emblem of India. And in this lion capital, if you are able to see here, we have a kind of chakra. So this chakra is used as the Ashok chakra in the national flag of India. So you have to remember this. So now what is the importance for that? Because now India have in total 45 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So what are the significance of this achievement? Significance is that this will give boost to the heritage conservation in India. Because now people in different states, the government in different states will think, okay, now we have 45 World Heritage Sites, so let us make the efforts, let us put a lot of efforts, and let us recreate or reconserve this site, so that after 1 year or 2 years, the site in our state can also be designated as the World Heritage Site. So this will give a boost to the heritage conservation in India. And if heritage is conserved, then finally it will give to tourism and finally the global recognition. So now a practice question for you. So please pause the video and try to answer this question in the comment section. So that's all from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day.